nothing less than the best to keep their operations growing. We've believed that since opening our doors over 40 years ago. At AgroLiquid, our team of experts work with you to formulate a nutrition program that connects your fertilizer needs with your cropping goals, merging agronomy with economics on your farm. Get solid agronomic advice and positive results that'll make you a return on your fertilizer investment. Find your crop nutrition expert at agroliquid.com.
Now you can listen to WHOW on any Amazon Alexa-enabled device. There are 3 easy steps. Step 1.
Download the free Alexa app by going to the App Store on your mobile device.
Step 2. Enable our skill by going to the menu, select Skills, then find WHOW, open the skill.
Step 3. Activate the skill by saying, Alexa, play WHOW radio.
That's all there is to it.
And to stop the WHOW stream, just say, Alexa, stop.
WHOW, now on the Amazon Alexa app.
9 years ago this month, Love It Once More thrift store in Clinton opened its doors. This is Connie, and I want to thank you for supporting us. To celebrate, this month we have all our clothing and shoes.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Heather Purdeu is the executive director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur. Joins us in studio today. Good to see you, Heather.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming out and talking with us. And of course, as usual, you've got a little friend with you. What do we have here today?
I do. I have a lesser hedgehog tenrec from Madagascar, and his name is Pierce. So you can see he has these spines, just very similar to a hedgehog, that he would use for defense. So if a predator was coming up to him, he could roll up in a ball, and he have like these kind of prickly spines that probably wouldn't be very appetizing for some sort of predator. Although they look a lot like a hedgehog, they're actually not related to hedgehogs. So they're actually more closely related to shrews and moles. So,
okay.
And again, they're from Madagascar. That's the only place in the world that you could find these guys in the wild. And they're pretty cute. We love using them for programs. You can see the spines aren't as sharp as the hedgehog. So a lot of times if I'm handling the hedgehog, I would wear gloves or something like that. But with this guy, I mean, he's pretty relaxed. And so I'm able to hold him with just my hand here.
Seems like it tickles him when you touch him.
Yeah, he's kind of like,
got the reaction.
Yeah, he's kind of like closing up a little bit. But,
Yeah. Nice.
And these guys, this time of year, they actually go through a torpor, which is similar to a hibernation, but not a complete hibernation where they completely just, will slow down their metabolism, and they'll just kind of curl up a ball until, so many months later, and then they'll wake up. These guys, they do slow down their metabolism, but they will get up for a little activity. So they'll eat a little bit, but not as much as they normally would during the rest of the year. So this morning, we kind of woke him up a little bit to come here. But
how dare you?
Yes, I know. He's kind of
really
like looking
putting him
around.
out.
But when I transfer him too, they don't like the cold very well. So I put him in this little critter keeper, but then I also put him in a styrofoam cooler just to keep him warm since it is pretty cold outside.
It is pretty cold. Yeah, very good. So he's probably a little tired here this morning.
Yeah,
then.
he's kind of waking up. I think he's getting a little bit warmer, and he's kind of perking up a little bit.
Gotcha.
Another interesting thing about these guys is they will have milky substance around their eyes, and it's their scent glands. And so, and then what they'll do is they'll start rubbing it on themselves, especially as we clean their habitats at the zoo. And, we put fresh, pine shavings and stuff in there. They will usually self-annoy, and they'll have those milky substance, and it's kind of similar to smelling like a skunk, sort of. And then they'll spread that around because they want their scent back in their own territory.
Oh, okay. Kind of marking their territory in that way. Yeah, sure. So does he eat like small bugs and stuff like that?
Yes, he is an insectivore, although we consider him more of an omnivore. So he will eat some vegetables and fruits. He may scavenge for like some meat or something on the forest floor as well, but a lot of insects.
Okay.
And I mean, that's his favorite too.
Yeah.
So, but he also gets, we actually have, it's Missouri is the brand name, an insectivore diet. And that's his main balanced diet for him.
Sure. So what do you do for him for like enrichment and things?
We would do a lot of, like olfactory, so scent. So we have a couple of these guys right now. So we may just swap enclosures. So, I have the other one sent all around. And so then he would be busy kind of, marking everything again.
Yeah.
Changing, we call it the furniture in his habitat.
Okay.
And so these guys can climb. In the wild, they would be found mainly on the forest floor, but they will climb up into trees. And, they may sleep in little burrows in the tree. And
Okay.
so they can climb. So we can give them things that can climb as long as they, if they fell from them, they wouldn't get hurt or anything, but just where they can safely get around their enclosure. And they're also nocturnal. So even during the day, keepers, these guys are sleeping most of the time, but we will, we know that they're active overnight. We can see that they move things around. We can try some different food options, maybe some different vegetables or fruits for them. Maybe some different insects, but yeah, these guys they're pretty fun.
Yeah, very good. Well, when it comes, you said he's 12. How long do
he'll
they
be
live?
12. Usually in captivity, around 15. So he's a pretty old guy. And we have another one that's around the same age. And we're hoping actually this year to acquire a new one from another institution that breeds tenrecs, and they're part of an SSP, so the Species Survival Plan, and they have certain ones that they breed, and so we're hoping to acquire another one because, again, we use these guys a lot for programs. They're very interesting, unique, and something that we can handle, and something even our zoo teen program, our zoo teens are able to handle them as well.
Yeah, so are they... you mentioned species survival program. Are they endangered or anything?
They're actually pretty stable.
Okay.
They may be locally threatened in certain areas of Madagascar, and it's usually due to habitat lost or, people acquiring them to sell them in the pet trade type of thing. So,
sure.
But yeah, they're kind of unique. They're not something you usually see in the pet trade here. They're usually just pretty much a zoo animal. And again, they breed them in the zoos, but we use them for programs because these guys are ambassadors for their wild counterparts. And so, and you have to make sure you have all the right, like he has a heating pad to keep them warm in the winter and all of those things that go into the care of them.
Gotcha. Very good. So Pierce the tenrec. Well, thanks for bringing him out today,
Yeah.
Heather. It's always good to have a little critter in the studio. And, usually, I was going to mention this at the top, but usually we don't get back in touch with the zoo till March or April, coming back in February.
Yeah.
Why is that? What's going on right now?
Well, we have started our adult volunteer classes, and those, we had our first one this week, and they are every Wednesday from 9 to 12. And those will run, I think they're 8 weeks. And so usually about mid-April, they're finishing up. But anyone who's ever been interested in volunteering at the zoo, adults volunteering at the zoo, are welcome to come to these classes. And we encourage these classes. Even if you want to maybe come out and help drive the train for us, you do get asked a lot of questions. You're out there in the zoo, people ask you animal questions. So we still feel like it's important for you to learn the basics with the animal, ecology and the ecosystems and conservation.
Gotcha. So when it comes to volunteers at the zoo, you mentioned that training going on now. Is it too late to get involved in that since it started?
Yeah, you're welcome to still come out. I mean, we would take new volunteers, and we would love for people to be able to come to classes, but even if you couldn't come to the classes, you're welcome to contact the zoo at 217-421-7435. And Lizzie Van who's been here before, she is our adult volunteer coordinator, and she'd be happy to talk with you and tell you about the opportunities that we have to volunteer.
So this isn't necessary to become a volunteer?
It's not necessary, but it's something that we encourage. So,
Gotcha.
And it's kind of a good way, too, that you could kind of meet Lizzie and meet some of the other volunteers.
Okay.
This last week, I know we had, I think she said 22 people that were there for the class. So
Gotcha.
it's kind of a way for just networking and, just to kind of get familiar with other volunteers and the zoo itself.
Do you have, not mandates, but do you have requests in terms of how many volunteer hours your volunteers provide and those things?
We do ask, especially, so there's different, like I said, opportunities. We have people that run our carousel, our train. People with the animals, we don't really have them necessarily taking care of the animals because that's what we have the keepers for. But we may have them. They do a lot of our mobile zoo programs where they go out to schools or retirement homes and present the animals and do a presentation. For those volunteers, we do ask. I don't know the minimum number, but we do ask for a minimum number of hours each month, just so they retain that handling knowledge.
Kind of muscle memory type of thing.
Yeah, muscle memory, and just so they remember. And if there are any changes with some of the animals, that they're a little bit more familiar because they've been there pretty regularly.
Okay.
And then we also have some people that just come in, especially during the school bus season, that come to the petting zoo and just help us out there. Just kind of talking with guests in there. The petting zoo is a very popular area. The goats are in there, and they just interacting and talking with the, especially the kids that are all in there.
Sure, very good. So volunteer opportunities underway. Again, the when and where on when you gather this time of the year with your volunteers.
We are meeting right now every Wednesday from 9 to 12. And again, you're welcome to call the zoo. You will have to
9 to 12 in the morning.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. 9 to 12 in the morning. And you will need to fill out some paperwork and a background check. That's just what everyone has to go through. And but yeah, you're welcome to call the zoo. And if you have more questions or want to fill out that application and at least get that started, you're welcome to call us at 217-421-7435. And we'll help you.
Sure. Do you find is there I would think retired teachers would be ideal for this. Do you find there's a certain not necessarily demographic but group of people that volunteer? Yeah,
we do have kind of we have had some retired teachers that have came through. They seem to be from all different, some people from corporate and they love interacting with the public. And I think that's probably one of the most, maybe you don't want to handle the animals. And again, you can run the carousel. And again, we just love for you to have that basic knowledge. But obviously interacting with the public is something that is very important to being an adult volunteer at the zoo because there is a lot of that.
Sure.
And so, but people love, engaging, especially with children on, the carousel and the train and just talking with people. And we loved to have, we're always in need of adult volunteers to help us out.
How many volunteers does it take to make the zoo go?
Wow, I don't know. We had, I'm trying to think, we had a volunteer appreciation dinner in January and,
getting tired of Pierce there.
Yeah, he was kind of trying to get a little bit busier in my hands. I'm trying to remember. I think we have, 50 or so pretty active volunteers. Some obviously are able to commit more hours than others, but we did have a few volunteers that were able to volunteer hundreds of hours during a year. And if you think about, us having our volunteers come out to run the train or the carousel especially, we don't need staff to do that, and it saves us money, our operating budget, so we do rely on those volunteers a lot, just so we don't have to pull staff to do that.
Sure. So 9 to noon, Wednesdays in February?
Yep, February, March, and part of April.
Okay, so those opportunities coming up. How do folks learn more about that volunteer opportunity at the zoo, Heather?
They can call us at 217-421-7435, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
That is Heather Purdeu. She is the executive director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur, our guest in studio. More to come with Heather on The Morning Show.
WHOW.
WHOW, Central Illinois' news, agriculture, and sports station will be traveling to the Clinton Police and Fire stations during February, broadcasting our morning show live. It's a way to say thank you to the courageous men and women that serve our local communities to keep us safe and protected. Whatever your emergency, they're always there for you and your families as they put their lives on the line each and every day. Be listening throughout February for these live broadcasts from the Clinton Police and Fire stations as our WHOW Morning Show goes on the road. Brought to you by these sponsors. Kirby Foods, located at 220 East Van Buren in Clinton. They are sending a shout out to the Clinton Police and Fire Departments for their selfless service to our community. And DeWitt Savings Bank, located at 302 West Main Street in Clinton, your only locally owned hometown bank. SIU Family Medicine wants the best health for you and your family. Be a champion. Protect your loved ones. The SIU Center for Family Medicine of Lincoln is accepting new patients. Click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to schedule your appointment.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
9 years ago this month, Love It Once More thrift store in Clinton opened its doors. This is Connie, and I want to thank you for supporting us. To celebrate, this month we have all our clothing and shoes 30% off. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, and DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Heather Purdeu with the Scovill Zoo Indicator, our guest in studio. And with Valentine's Day coming up, Heather, I know you're doing something a little unique this year to kind of showcase your animals. What are you doing?
Yeah, we are selling Valentines, so anyone can give us a call and purchase a Valentine for somebody else. And those Valentines, you can either choose a Madagascar hissing cockroach, a naked mole rat, and a turkey vulture. Mm-hmm. And we kind of, at the beginning when we first started doing this, we thought it'd be kind of fun. People were kind of doing it as a joke, buying a hissing cockroach Valentine for somebody else. And then we decided to go with naked mole rat because they're kind of those animals that are a little so ugly they're cute type of thing. And then the turkey vulture is kind of the same way. And so those are animals that don't always get the love. They're not the cute and cuddly, but it's just kind of fun. And especially the naked mole rat, people have been really enjoying purchasing those. And so when you purchase them, you can get a hissing cockroach for $20, and the naked mole rat and the turkey vulture are $25 a piece. Mm-hmm. And what you will get is an adoption certificate for whoever, it's for. They'll have their name on the adoption certificate, and there will be the adoptive parent of a cockroach, for example. And they'll also receive a picture of the animal and some little footprints from the animal. So it's just kind of a unique, fun thing. We thought it would, people would be interested in doing.
Now, with if someone does that, is it only like one per animal, or is it like you can however many people are interested in a certain animal?
Yeah, it's however many. We made a bunch of these, and so they're already ready to go. So. Like I said, if you give us a call, again, at 217-421-7435, we'll just need information, and we can either mail it to you or mail it to the person that you're gifting this to. Yes. As we get closer to Valentine's Day, again, we're mailing them. So if you need to stop by in the office to get one of those last-minute Valentines, you're welcome to do that. We'll be in the office. But, maybe you had someone who made a New Year's resolution and, they don't want dinner. They don't want chocolates. Maybe they're trying to eat healthier. You can get them a Valentine.
I have a story for you when we're done. Okay. I don't think people on air would find this as funny, and I probably wouldn't tell it very well. So I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
But, yes. All right. So, so just call the zoo on that then?
Yeah, and check out our Facebook page, because just look up Scovill Zoo on Facebook, and we actually have some videos of the naked mole rats painting, so you can see them making the art that you will be able to gift to somebody.
That's fantastic. Very good. Well, Heather, I know, of course, you're in here in February, but the zoo remains closed for the season.
It is still closed for the season. We open April 5th, so everyone can put that on their calendars. We are excited, but about this time of year, we're kind of itching to open again, but it's still pretty cold, pretty icky out in the zoo right now, and as it starts to warm up is when we'll be able to move some of those animals back outdoors. But a lot of our animals are still indoors right now. They're more the tropical warm weathered animals, and some animals like our wolves and our wallabies and our cheetahs are still outdoors. Of course, all our goats and everything are, but a lot of the birds and the tortoises and the alligators and stuff, they're all been moved indoors for the winter.
Those hibernating animals, how are they doing right now?
Well, we don't have anything that that truly hibernates. I mean, some of like the turtles and stuff would normally, if we would
I thought
give
the
them,
alligators did.
they kind of go through a torpor. Like we have our female, it's still warm where they're at right now in the building, and she'll still eat throughout the winter. So the male doesn't really, but yes, if they were out in the wild where it was this cold, they would definitely go into kind of a hibernation state, and then but it's where we're keeping them right now is warm, so
Gotcha.
They don't go through that.
Speaking of alligators, how's the alligator exhibit fundraising going?
It's going very well. I think now they're starting to talk with architecture and developers just to make sure we've met that fundraising goal and make sure
you got enough money.
Costs always change and they tend to increase rather than decrease, so they just want to make sure we're still within that range, and so that's kind of the next step. So hopefully everything seems to be moving along fine with that.
Very good. So what is the next step once you get things finalized? Like when do we maybe break ground and get this thing started?
Yeah, it usually takes. I mean, it will have to go out for bid and then kind of just clarifying and finalizing all that architectural pieces of it, and then once they have that, then that's when they would start breaking ground.
Gotcha.
And so we know where our alligator exhibit is now. It would be in the same area. It would just be kind of taking over some of those other exhibits that are right next to it, because there is a building associated with the exhibit, which would be great. So when it's really cold out and we move the alligators indoors, sometimes it warms back up, and that would be great if we just open a door and they can go back outside if they would like.
Yeah. Is there an animal that has taken to the cold that surprised you this winter? Because it got pretty cold out there at times.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, a lot of our animals are pretty resilient, and they're, like our goats and everything, they do have that winter fur, and we do try to make sure they have more straw. They have, things that they can bundle up in, and we have a lot of goats, so they all bundle together. We will offer them more warmer water. We have heaters that keep the water from freezing, but they really love it when you bring fresh warm water from the tap, and they will drink that. They'll come running over and drink it, which is just kind of funny, and to see them all kind of running over for that. But,
funny. Nice. That's cute.
And right now the goats, they can't wait till we open. Even if I walk in there, because this time of year I'm not even in there that often, they'll all come over just for scratches and pets. So they're really wanting us to reopen in April, and of course they're not getting that little petting zoo food, out of the feed machines.
Oh, sure.
So they're probably they're eager for us to open for that as well.
Spoiled little things. That's funny. Very good. Well, Heather, where do folks go to learn about all things Scovill Zoo? Keep up with the latest opening day, all that good stuff.
They can check our website at scovillzoo.com, and of course our Facebook page, which we update pretty regularly, and you can go there and check us out as well.
Sounds good. Well, Heather, thanks for making time for us. We'll see you in March. Absolutely. Heather Purdeu, Executive Director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is now.
WHOW.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Saying it will no longer tolerate taxpayer money being spent on things like Egypt tourism.